Hi everyone, this is your host Salman Khwaja. I am Manager Application Security at TPS Pakistan, and I am also a chapter leader in OWASP Karachi. So basically today's talk is about SOC analysts to combat cyber attacks or new approaches based on artificial intelligence and machine learning. So let's start. What is a SOC? Security Operations Center is a centralized unit which deals with organization security infrastructure, and it plays an important role in monitoring, assessment, and defense of an organization's security posture. So let's say an organization could be any organization which either develops a software or which consumes a software. It could be a bank, it could be a retail shop, it could be an online business, or it could be a development house, or it could be any other organization which is having computer systems or computer network in its own environment, or which is a heterogeneous environment. So basically, the whole traffic that is going through from the whole organization's internal network towards the external network, that traffic is monitored. The events are managed. Intrusion detection and prevention are monitored. The incident response and cyber threat intelligence is monitored. So let's say an organization is having few employees. That could be a few employees, or that could be a lot more employees, like 1,000 employees, which are being connected on a global scale. So whatever those employees are doing, someone might be browsing the internet, someone might be reading the emails, someone might be doing actual online shopping. So all those things, they are being monitored to a certain extent. And if the employees are being attacked through cyber attacks, through hacking attacks, those attacks could be mitigated. Those attacks could be either be proactively detected, or if an attack is actually happened, then the post attack analysis, the incident management practices, they are all done by a security operations center. So the focus area of Security Operations Center is basically control of state of security, the compliance, the vulnerability assessment. By control of state of security, we mean the three aspects of security, which is confidentiality, availability, and integrity. Its compliance and its vulnerability assessments. Monitoring of compromise. If a system is compromised, its assessment. SIEM, basically SIEM is security information and event management, through which logs are analyzed, um, logs are assessed in a centralized manner. Incident response, in case an attack is observed on an organization. And then lastly, operations, which is access management, firewall administration, and identity management. Access management is basically providing access to different users, and if a user is promoted, or if his needs are escalated, then then his access rights are changed as well. Firewall administration is basically enabling and disabling different systems towards the internet traffic going to and from the organization's internal network. And identity management is creating, disabling the users as and when they come into the organization and when they leave the organization, and vice versa. What are the knowledge and skills of a SOC analyst? So basically, a SOC analyst is a person who is working in a SOC environment, Security Operations Center, and the SOC analyst needs to keep check on different aspects that I've talked earlier. So what should be the basic knowledge and skills of a good SOC analyst? So he needs to understand the organization's network, his internal network, how the data is flowing from internet clouds toward proxy server and towards the other servers. He should have a knowledge of cyber threats, incidents, events, and logging. He should be able to identify and assess of IOCs, which is indicator of compromise, and indicators of concerns. So basically, many antivirus software, many IDS, which is intrusion detection systems, and many IPS, they publish indicator of compromise on a daily basis. Whenever zero-day attacks are patched up, those indicators of compromise and indicators of concern are published. So those knowledge should be the one of the tools that a SOC analyst should have. And once they know the indicator of compromise, and once they know the indicator of concern, they can put in those things either through their manual assessments or through their automated tools. They should be having a deeper understanding of malware analysis, operating systems, data structure, security tools, and applications. And lastly, they should be having strong understanding of security operation concepts, which is perimeter defense, bring your own device management, data loss protection, insider threats, kill chain analysis, and risk assessment and security metrics. Basically, perimeter defense is more towards physical defense and defense in depth concepts. BYOD management is bring your own device management. Like these days, everyone is bringing their mobile phones in the organizations. Many people might be bringing tablets into their organizations, and then organizations are having their Wi-Fi enabled. So it really nobody is stopping an employee to bring his own device, and that's the concept of bring your own device. So there should be some governing policies on bring your own device, and to which extent an employee can bring his own device and connect to the corporate network or internal network of the organization. How data loss is protected, either by encrypting disks, encrypting files, and many other things like that. How insider threats can be mitigated, obviously through user education and gamification aspects, and what can be done by through kill chain analysis. Kill chain analysis is basically if an attack is happening in the organization, what can be done to kill that attack completely. For example, if a malware is on a network, can we segment that network from the whole network of the organization, so that malware could stop in one part of the network, or can we shut down complete network without affecting any other networks, and the operations are moving smoothly? Because these days the malwares that are being injected into organizations, they are very, and they sense these things to protect their own livelihood. So a kill chain analysis has to be done very thoroughly before attacking any malware or before doing any malware analysis. Risk assessment and security metrics are basically nothing but performing risk assessments about either physical risks or technical risks or administrative risks. And security metrics is about making security reports on basic trends, or like 6 months, 1 year, or weekly or monthly trends. So what's the importance of a security operations center? The aim of SOC is to provide an organization with an effective identification and mitigation of a potential threat. Organizations that recognize the importance of cybersecurity will invest in SOC to ensure that their data remains safe. Now, many organizations are moving towards outsourcing a SOC, where a professional SOC team is deployed as resident engineers in different organizations. But to invest in a SOC, which if an organization can afford, is probably the best thing that organization can do to for their own livelihood and for their own betterment. The performance of SOC has significant impact upon various functions of an organization. That performance would be centralization of assets and security, solidifying the trust of client and investors, collaborating across different departments, platforms, and maximizing security awareness, and lastly, increasing return on investment. So basically, it talks about how a SOC could operate and how a SOC team could operate within the organization. They have to centralize their assets. Which routers are they having? How many networks are they having? Which network is connected to which network, and how the traffic flows from in and out towards in the organization's internal network and external network, and which security measures are in place. The trust between the clients and investors have to be very important towards security. Let's say if a new auditor is coming into the organization, um, if an auditor might be coming for the first time in the organization, obviously that would be zero trust over there. But if an auditor is coming for, let's say, continuous in the organization, that trust would be more solid. It would be more ingrained trust if a SOC operation is performing well on a daily basis. And SOC team or security team has to collaborate across different departments and platforms. They have to train users. They have to provide security trainings so that the users could also become their arms, their second army towards defense against cyber attacks. And ultimately, this will increase return on investment, be that investment on a human resource, or that investment on a specific tool on a technical area, or that investment is on a hardware being purchased for security purpose, like hardware firewall, any hardware based appliances that are being bought to enhance the security. So that's the importance of SOC. In other words, if you have a department of SOC in an organization, then yes, you are catering towards many things that are entering into attacks that are entering into your organization. And if you have outsourced those the SOC, make sure that they are performing as per defined criteria I've mentioned previously. So a SOC can augment the effective functioning of different cybersecurity verticals, such as, now these are different cybersecurity verticals which could be applied in an organization, which could not be applied in an organization. So those are the different verticals. One of them is intelligence. The intelligence function is with a computer emergency response team. It is also known as a CERT, which could be on a organization level. It could be on a national level. It could be on a provincial level. Again, CERT is basically an emergency response team dedicated to respond towards any cyber attack. So basically, an intelligence function would be to realize that threat, to analyze that threat, and then if there are any mitigations, then implement those mitigations either through administrative controls, through technical controls, or through people controls. The baseline security. Now, the baseline security is basically about hardening servers, operating systems, and network components. This is basically closing the ports, the unwanted ports of the servers, closing the unwanted services of the servers, making sure that the users that have left the organization, the actual people who have left the organization, their related usernames and passwords or user credentials are disabled, at least disabled or deleted from the system, so that they can't be reused. Monitoring, the monitor of network data traffic and to discover anomalies. Again, data traffic coming in and going out from the organization as a whole. And then they could, once they do the above areas, the SOC could move into penetration testing, which is network security, service development, and operation environment within the network. And then there is a sub part of a penetration testing, which is also known as vulnerability assessment, which is targeted towards applications running inside the network. And lastly, there is a forensic function, which is law enforcement agencies, Office of Integrity, evidence. Forensic functions are basically kicked on or kicked off when a breach is happened in an organization. A breach could be defined as a successful attack through cyber attack or through any insider threat, and some loss is incurred on the organization, either on confidentiality level, either on integrity level, or either on availability level. By confidentiality, we mean someone came into the organization either through insider threat, either through cyber attack, and they have seen what they weren't supposed to see. That would be a confidentiality attack. If they have tampered any record, that would be an integrity attack. And if they have basically encrypted the files and they were not making them available, that would be an availability attack. So whenever an attack is performed successfully and a serious damage is performed on an organization, then forensics function of a SOC is brought into the limelight. So what we would be saying is SOC is generally having intelligence, baseline security, monitoring function as the core functions. Penetration testing and forensics could be the advanced functions of SOC, but they should be implemented for a complete overhaul, secure architecture or security posture of an organization. So what's the role of a SOC analyst? Well, the basic role of a SOC analyst is continuously monitor the system's network security and provide information to other cybersecurity verticals. They are actually helping the organization detect and analyze potential threats to an organization cyber landscape. They investigate and confirm in the organization's environment, and they improve the threat in platform. So let's take the example of the image we have provided here. Now, a SOC analyst is basically looking towards the traffic coming into the organization and the traffic going outside the organization. Now, let's take an example of this environment as a PCI environment, where card data are coming into the organization and card data are going out into the organization. So a SOC analyst would be, looking at the traffic coming in and looking at the traffic going out and doing all these tasks that I've mentioned over here. Now let's take in the same example of the attacker attacking through cross-site scripting and performing session hijacking attacks or cookie manipulation attacks over any user performing their online shopping. So they should be having the SOC analyst should be having a detailed knowledge about what PCI is. He should be having a detailed knowledge about what are the sensitive data that are being that has to be monitored, that has to be protected, and he should be knowing how to detect an XXX attack, and which is alerted by the internal intrusion detection system. And then he would basically access of the website for confirming absence of falsification. He would be checking if IDS has introduced a false alarm or not. So he would be confirming the absence of falsification there. And then lastly, he would be determining the attack failure, which is level 2 event, and he would be confirming that, hey, this is an actual attack and we have to do something about it. They would be again monitoring the systems. They would be helping the organization to analyze and detect the potential threats, and lastly they would be investigating and confirming whether the attack is false or not, and in the end they would be improving the threat detection and threat intelligence platforms. So basically a SOC analyst work in the past couple of years has been quite manual work. They were doing log analysis and everything related to to information security or security systems architecture. So these are the level of SOC events that we will be discussing. SOC analysts analyze and reviews logs and alerts generated by security devices to determine the importance and seriousness of each event. The alert levels issued by network security devices, which is an IDS or IPS. IDS is intrusion detection systems. IPS is intrusion prevention systems. They often differ from those concluded by the analyst. So the analyst determine whether an incident generated from logs is a false positive, which is it is falsely uh, turned positive, and if not, they select the level of severity of security events and incidents. So let's discuss a bit about IDS and IPS. And IDS is intrusion detection system. It could be basically IDS is software, or it could be a hardware system deployed in an information in an organization network, which would detect the attack. That's all it does. It would detect the attack. It would raise the alarm, or it could send out alerts through emails to different SOC personals or network persons that hey, this attack is being coming in the network. IPS, on the other hand, is intrusion prevention system. It will not only detect the attack, it will also take some actions, again preventing the attack. One, yes, it will detect the attack as well, and as per their its own tree of decisions, it will take some actions to prevent the further attacks as well. So let's talk about level 1 attack, which is event without problem. Basically, those events which are triggered by IDS, but they aren't a very big problem. Probably a SOC analyst might go through those attacks, and he would say, okay, yeah, it is not a very big problem. It is just a configuration issue. Level 2 would be event to be noted, that hey, the detected attack, it was a successful attack, but it has failed due to some reasons. So that's the event which are to be noted, which are to be looked upon by an IDS or by an IPS, and ultimately but through a SOC personnel as well. Level 3 is a critical event, which is a successful attack and which failure cannot be confirmed. That's a level 3. It could be a false positive here. Um, it is again attack success, or which failure cannot be confirmed. It is a confirmed attack, but a breach is not confirmed over here. But the attack, with through the logs, one could easily see that hey, an unauthorized user has accessed the system, or an escalation of privilege has been alerted by either an IDS or an IPS. A level 4 is the emergent event, which is like attack success is confirmed, or in which falsification and occurred. This is like attack success, actual attack is done, and a breach is also confirmed on those security three legs that I've mentioned previously. Different SOC generations are there. If we go back a couple of decades, SOC analysts and SOC operations were performing on first generation. We'll be talking about these generation in the slide. So basically, first generation of SOC was device monitoring, log collection, retention, limited device coverage, and all those things, which were like people were used to collect the logs. They were manually going through the logs, and basically, if MTTR, mean time to recovery, or mean time to detect, MDDT, was very low. It was very slow reaction to security incident. Since more of the work was manual, people were looking at the whole attack from different aspects. I would like to give you an example of, let's say, um, an organization is running its retail store in a e-commerce software. So basically, the attack might be coming through a website, and ultimately towards the internal network, and ultimately it lands to the database. So what a SOC person would have to be doing, they have to be going through the logs of the website. Possibly there are numerous web servers out there. There is a Microsoft web server, there is open source web servers. So the SOC analyst might be going through different web server logs. That's first part. Next, he would be going through different network logs generated at the time of breach or attack. Lastly, he would be going through the database logs. So once he has confirmed the time of attack, Then he has to pick up the logs of web server, he has to pick up the logs of network, he has to pick up the logs of database, and he has to pick up different other logs generated by different systems involved in the whole organization. He might have to pick up the logs of IDS and IPS as well. So looking at the logs, going through them manually was a very time taken and a tedious effort. That was the first generation of SOC. Let's come to second generation. Second generation was having everything that the first generation was having, except it was having event correlation, network and syslog collection, and case management. It was having the ability to correlate the logs of different systems on a time scale, that hey, this is the log of this timestamp, this is the log of this timestamp, and this is the log of this timestamp. If we take a one particular timestamp, then at that timestamp, the log of web server, the log of network, and the log of database are saying this. So this was being done in the second generation of SOC, and through this, again, this was being done by a tool. It wasn't being done manually by SOC analyst. So a time to detect was greatly decreased. Lastly, third generation. Third generation was having everything first generation was having and second generation was having, and it was having vulnerability management and incident response capabilities. Basically, when we talk about software weaknesses and different weaknesses, there is a body known as MITRE, which publishes CVEs and CWEs. CVEs is common vendor enumerations, and CWEs are common weakness enumerations. So common vendor enumerations are basically zero-day attacks or loopholes, security loopholes left out by vendors in their softwares. By CVEs, CVE usually are published through Twitter, through Mitre on open networks, and they are targeted towards basic softwares that we run on our laptops in our organizations. CVs are generally directed towards basic vendors, which might be Microsoft, which might be operating systems such as Windows, Linux, Apple, and everything in between. So basically, CVEs are targeted on published softwares which are publicly available. CWEs are more harder to detect, and they are weakness enumerations in a software level or in an application level. For example, escalation of privilege, or session management problems, or XXX problems. Those are published by as a general software weakness or general application weakness. So third generation of okay. So basically, it was having the capability of first generation, second generation, and then it would be giving CWEs and CVEs and incident response capabilities. Now the fourth generation that we will be talking, which is the meat of this presentation, is data correlation, big data analysis, security and analytics, threat intelligence, service consumption, cloud security, and lastly, dark web analysis. So this is basically what we are telling in this presentation, that fourth generation of SOC would be the real SOC protection towards cyber attacks. That it would be covering everything from first, second, and third generation, and adding in the security analytics, threat intelligence, and dark web analysis about zero-day attacks being published on a daily basis. So why AI and ML SOC is important? Artificial intelligence and machine learning is basically essential for better performance of an organization, operational excellence, and is driven by a well-designed executed process, stable governance, and capable individuals. Basically, artificial intelligence and machine learning helps process large amounts of data through automation in order to obtain effective results. Artificial intelligence is capable of making decisions, hence reducing the burden of a SOC analyst. Again, through deduction, reasoning, and problem solving, logging and monitoring, knowledge representation, planning, automation, motion, and manipulation. In other words, it is implementing SecDevOps or DevOps aspects into SOC organization or SOC functions of an organization. So what are the new approaches towards artificial intelligence of SOC operations? It reduces the workload of log analysis. It improves decision making and accuracy of result to avoid false positive. It could judge level 1 and level 2 incidents as well as false positive decisions more effectively. It could be doing analysis of threat triage to augment effective mitigation process. It improves the quality of monitoring services and encourages innovative efforts. It is high quality service detection capability to advance attacks. It uses open source threat intelligence to analyze cyber attacks, and it uses cyber physical integrated analysis technology for criminal investigation report. SOC with AI and ML. In today's cybersecurity world, SOC analysts have the difficult task of monitoring and analyzing a colossal amount of data to discover indicator of compromise and concern. The traditional methods include signature and rule-based machine learning, whereas the advanced methodologies involve behavior-based detection. So what could be a behavior-based detection? Basically, it's signature-based detection, rule-based detection, and behavior-based detection. Behavior-based detection in analytics plays a significant role in applying algorithms and a statistical analysis to detect threats. Now, a behavior-based detection could be, example could be provided as, for example, a SOC with AI and ML is deployed in an organization. That SOC would be monitoring the behavior of a user persona. For example, a normal user logs into the system, takes the VPN, and performs their work for exact 9 hours, and then he logs off. Now, this unusual behavior would be logging on to the same VPN on Sunday morning and then performing many transactions and then logging off, like say 12 hours. That is a behavior anomaly, and that would be detected, and an alarm would be raised by the AI and ML capabilities of a SOC system. So different classes of behavior analytics are deployed in a level 4 SOC tool, which is known as network-based behavior, host-based behavior, user identity-based behavior, cloud-based behavior, and lastly, dark web intelligence. I've given the example of user identity-based behavior. The same could be done through host-based behavior, like different hosts or different servers are talking to different servers and at different times. So their behavior could also be monitored. Different networks behavior could also be monitored, and different cloud-based behavior could also be monitored. So that behavior analytics is performed by SOC in terms of what happened, what next, and why it is being happened. Again, network-based behavior is like sniffing packets, looking for bad stuff. Competing technologies are sandboxing, network behavior, packet capture. Identity-based behavior are like tracking user logins and actions across networks, applications, creates baseline of user behavior, spot anomalies, requires endpoint integration. Cloud-based access brokers are form of IBVA, identity-based behavior. Host-based behavior analyzers are competing technologies of system behavior, application whitelisting. This is statistical analysis, classic endpoint, data loss prevention, and endpoint activity. Cloud-based behavior are analytics in the cloud versus analysis of the cloud. Messy myriad of technologies here. Cloud access and security brokers, cloud web gateway products, hybrid analytics platform, and SIEM as a service. Lastly, dark web intelligence actively monitors the dark web for activity relevant, phishing attacks, and threat intelligence organizations. So SOC with machine learning. What would be a machine learning be doing in a SOC? Basically, it would be taking zero-day vulnerability, persistence, and IP theft. These type of threats can incredibly complex to detect and almost certainly require the help of machine learning. In this case, a user is required to bring statistical analysis methods to understand what's normal in an environment. That is where the real field of machine learning begins to have a real effect. So these days, SOC would be coming with an ability to train themselves. They train themselves with a good data, and then they once they are in a production mode with the learning mode off, they then compare and contrast with training data with normal data, and then they basically would be applying machine learning in detecting zero-day attacks, persistence, and IP thefts. So traditional SOC versus next generation SOC. Traditional SOC was manual monitoring of events. It was laborious. It needed security analyst, large skill gap, time taken process, less visibility on unstructured data. Analysis and triage aspect, it was again manual analysis. Triage was tweaked based on guidelines and experience of SOC analysts. Limited behavioral inputs, large time gap between analysis and implementation. Now, if we compare the same traditional SOC with next generation SOC, which is having an AI and ML implemented in between, basically it is automated event monitoring. Machine learning makes tasks easy, can be done by any security engineer. AI and ML reduce the burden of skill gap, fast and efficient continuous process, accurate visibility for both structured and unstructured data. From the analysis and triage aspect, automated analysis using AI and ML. Triage is created by AI based on dynamic inputs. Faster and accurate analysis enable immediate implementation upon analysis. And again, lastly, reducing false positives. I hereby would like to finish my presentation and viewer content. Once again, I'm opening the floor to different questions. Thank you so much.